As the ISO standard continues to evolve, it is interesting to observe how successful companies have embraced this standard to increase the quality of their products and services, while balancing the pressures of time to market and product cost. Good afternoon, everyone. In continuation of our report, we are here to discuss the quality management system and also how QMS works in a big company here in the Philippines. A QMS is a multifaceted set of processes that touch on every part of development, starting with high level goals and going all the way through day to day operations. First core element is quality policy and objectives. When you begin creating a quality management system, the first step should be to draft a quality policy and follow it up with your objectives. Quality policy can also be your company's mission, values, or statement of principles. Once you've crafted this, you're then able to set expectations across the organization, from executives and upper level management to supervisors and employees. The creation of quality objectives is a common requirement of QMS standards, including ISO 9001. These objectives are designed to encourage organizations to define strategic goals and a purpose for the QMS. The second core element is quality manual. A quality manual is defined as the first documentation of a QMS. It states the motivation for adopting a QMS framework and the role of quality within the organization. The third core element is organizational structure and responsibilities. A QMS should include a clear and updated model of the organization's structure and the responsibilities of all individuals within the organization. The organizational structure documentation should address the entire product life cycle using techniques such as flow charts which depict the path of workflow. The fourth core element is data management. An organization must be able to provide meaningful data evidence of effective quality controls. Data management systems should start by defining the types of data gathered by the organization and third-party sources. The fifth core element is processes. The entire QMS approach to quality control is to establish standardized, replicable processes. Standards for quality management require organizations to identify and define all organizational processes which use any resource to transform inputs into outputs. Sixth core element is customer satisfaction with product quality. A core component of QMS is the requirement for organizations to monitor customer satisfaction to determine if quality objectives are achieved. Some standards do not prescribe specific methods for measuring customer satisfaction, since the definition of product quality and available data can vary significantly between organizations. An example is satisfaction surveys. The seventh core element is continuous improvement. A QMS dictates that continual improvement is an organization-wide responsibility. However, ISO 9001 is clear that leadership should play a core role in implementing a quality-driven culture. The eighth core element is quality instruments. The control and calibration of tools used to measure quality are integral to the success of a QMS. If machines or equipment are used to validate products or processes, this equipment must be carefully controlled and calibrated according to industry standards. The QMS system design within an organization should dictate a clear policy for the maintenance of quality instruments based on nationally or internationally recognized standards for each piece of quality equipment. The ninth core element is document control and management. A QMS outlines standards for the types of documentation necessary to support quality management at a minimum, which may not be reflected of all the documents needed for accurate quality control. This generally includes quality objectives, a quality manual, procedures, process documentation, and records keeping. Document management system must contain all evidence necessary to prove QMS performance objectively.
So for the advantages and disadvantages of having an ISO certification. ISO is a quality management standard that presents guidelines intended to increase business efficiency and customer satisfaction. The goal of ISO 9000 and ISO 9001 is to embed a quality management system within an organization, increasing productivity, reducing unnecessary costs, and ensuring quality of processes and products. So for the pros of ISO 9001, first you need to understand your organization. Implementing a new quality management system means that you will have to evaluate the performance of your company first. So from there you can determine what step will be needed. Through business metrics and data and recognizing update system and processes, you will have a better understanding of your company's current strengths and weaknesses. That's why you need to understand your organization, for you will be able to plan and implement changes that will improve upon your weaker points. Focus more on quality. ISO 9001 requires that your organization remains focused on providing quality based on these principles. And in doing so, you need to improvise your operations, products and services, and employee, and then you can meet the customer satisfaction. Third is improve company operations. Implementing the ISO 9000 quality management system will improve the efficiency and effectiveness of your organization's processes. Management and employees will begin to notice how much easier their role and workloads are to handle. The fourth is improve your product and services. Of course, with enhanced system and processes comes improved products and services offering for your customers to meet their expectations for their products. New products and services can be added to your organization's portfolio seamlessly. So the fifth is improve morale and job satisfaction. A quality management system will also help employees learn how to do their jobs better, from setting more goals to provide feedback on job performance. This, plus a significant difference in how more efficient and more comfortable their works become with the quality management system, will improve staff morale and job satisfaction. Number 6 is improve customer satisfaction. By improving the company operations, products, and services, and making the employees happy to work for the organization, the company will ultimately improve customer satisfaction too. The customers will notice faster processes, higher quality products and services, and superior customer service as the result of the efforts. The company will continuously exceed customers' expectation, meaning much happier customers and fewer complaints. For 7 is earn more revenue. As the result of higher customer satisfaction, we will also see an increase in sales. Many of the customers may require that the company of ISO 9001 certified before conducting business. If you already accredited, the company are more likely to gain this customer's trust. And also, the company will also advertise the ISO 9000 certification to potential new customers to earn their businesses, and as the result, more revenue. So the last is save more money. By implementing an ISO 9000 quality management system, you can cut costs in the long run. As your organization improves its processes within each department, you will find that there are less waste and scraps. In addition, you will notice that your company will begin to reach its objectives much easier and faster than ever before, giving you more opportunities to make a profit while you reduce overhead cost. For cons of ISO 9001 certification, first is the certification process can be complicated. Many requirements of ISO 9001 be met before an organization is eligible for certification. Understanding these requirements can be quite challenging, especially for newer organizations that have not yet implemented a quality management system. Second, becoming certified takes time. The process for implementing a new quality management system according to ISO 9001 standards can take a long time, especially for larger companies. With smaller businesses, it may only take between 6 months to a year or implemented a new quality management system, while for larger companies, it may take several years before they are completely ISO 9001 compliant. For third, becoming certified takes effort. There is a lot of effort required on the part of management and employees to implement and maintain an ISO 9001 quality management system. In the beginning, integrated a new quality system will include a lot of work, so it takes more effort. The fourth is there is a lot of bureaucracy involved. Because of ISO 9001 requires extensive documentation, some organizations, especially those who have not previously operated in this way, argue that the process of having to document and record so much information concerning the quality management system becomes too bureaucratic. Bureaucratic means relating to the business of running an organization or a government, or overly concerned with procedures at the expense of efficiency or common sense. Fifth is certification requires greater accountability. It becomes the responsibility of employees to ensure that they comply with ISO 9001 standards and procedures set by the quality management system. If they do not, the organization is likely to lose or not be eligible for certification. The amount of accountability required from staff can add to their stress. So, it requires greater accountability and responsibility of employees. 6 is ISO 9001 certification can be too expensive for smaller companies. As we say that for smaller companies it takes only for 6 to a year to implement the ISO 9001 quality management system, but it's also too expensive for them, for smaller companies. So smaller organizations are usually without the resources needed to become ISO 9001 certified. As a result, larger companies have the competitive advantage since they are more likely to afford certification or marketing to their achievement after the fact. But it will be implemented and it takes several years. In addition, since many larger organizations requires that the companies they work with have certification, small companies that are unable to get certified lose out on obtaining their business. For 7, it is not suitable for service industries. ISO 9001 was initially created for manufacturers, although it has evolved over the years to include other industries. Many companies argue that its requirements are suitable for product-based organizations rather than service-based. 8. There are few short-term results. Implementing ISO 9001 quality management system takes some time, and some organizations argue that there are no results that come from being certified. However, because of ISO 9001 standard is meant to help your business improve over time, you are more likely to see many long-term results rather than short-term results. List of some ISO certified Philippine companies. First is Holcim, second is Mabuhay Vinyl Corporation, third is Sea Oil, fourth is NGCP, and fifth is Globe. First is the Holcim Philippines Waste Management Unit. The GeoCycle was recently recertified for following high standards for environmental safety and quality and its operations. The GeoCycle teams received certificates for ISO 9001, the quality management system, ISO 14001, the EMS, and OHSAS 18001 for safety from third-party certification, body certification international Philippines. The Mabuhay Vinyl Corporation is certified to ISO 9001-2015 quality standards, the internationally recognized standards of the world-class quality. Its Iligan plant is certified for its integrated management system consists of ISO 9001-2015, ISO 14001-2015, and ISO 45001-2015. Sea Oil Philippines Incorporation, the largest among independent oil providers, bagged last December 2008 the Quality Management System or ISO 9001-2000 certification from Geneva-based International Organization of Standards, giving it the global stature of the big three petroleum players operating in the Philippines. The NGCP, the country's sole transmission service provider and the power system operators, was certified in the three management systems. The Quality Management System or ISO 9001-2018, the Occupational Health and Safety Management System or OHSAS 18001-2007, and Environmental Management System ISO 14001-2004. And the globe has earned various ISO accreditations over the years such as ISO 9001-2008 for Quality Management System, ISO 27001-2005 for Information Security Management System, which strengthened its data centers assurance to customers in fulfilling service requirements. And these are the list of some ISO certified Philippines companies.
In our report, we will use Mabuhay Vinyl Corporation as an example. The group had a chance to have a brief discussion with one of the technical engineers of Mabuhay Vinyl Corporation about the ISO certification of the company. Mabuhay Vinyl Corporation is the only chloroalkali producer in the Philippines. It is the country's manufacturer of caustic soda and hydrochloric acid, and the company that produces chlorine in commercial quantities. Mabuhay Vinyl Corporation is an integrated management system or IMS certified company, which means that they have 3 ISO certifications, namely ISO 9001, which is Quality Management System or QMS, ISO 14001, Environmental Management System or EMS, and ISO 45001, which is Occupational Health and Safety Management.
As the first and largest chlor-alkali producer in the Philippines, Mabuhay Vinyl must set their standards high by ensuring the quality of their products. And that's why Mabuhay Vinyl Corporation is certified to ISO 9001 series of 2015 quality standards. In order to maintain the certification, the company must follow the standards. First, they must check the quality of the products. For example, they will select a random batch of the production and test it in the laboratory to check the parameters required in the standard, such as the acceptable range of concentration of their products. For example, the concentration of their main product, caustic soda, must be in a range of 48 to 50% concentration. This is a good way to check if they follow the quality policy that is required in a quality management system. In renewing an ISO certification, they must also be consistent, and by doing that, they must also regularly evaluate the performance to ensure the attainment of quality objective.
Mabuhay Vinyl Corporation also initiated programs that will efficiently control and minimize waste and prevent pollution in the production, storage, and distribution of the products and raw materials. It is one of their ways to comply to the EMS certification or ISO 14000 certification. The company is also part of the Voluntary Responsible Care program instigated by the global chemical industry that aims to prove health, safety, and environment performance on an international scale.
Aside from satisfying the needs of the customers, the company should also provide a safe workplace in which the workers are able to work well because it will affect the performance of the company. The ISO 45001 or the Occupational Health and Safety Management System, or also called as OSAS, is concerned with mitigating any factors that are harmful or that pose a danger to workers' physical and or mental being. Mabuhay Vinyl is an ISO 45001 certified company. They are also part of the voluntary responsible care program instigated by the global chemistry industry that aims to improve health, safety, and environmental performance on an international scale. In compliance of the standard, the company is also required to have an annual checkup for the employees. A good example of how they follow the standards of ISO 45001 is in this time of pandemic. They have rules about social distancing, wearing of face masks, mandatory vaccination but not required, and seminars about health precautions when working in the time of pandemic. And also in their transportation, they are provided with bus before and after their duty.
This is the schematic process on how a company prepares for an application for ISO certification. First step is to create a team. A company must form an ISO accreditation team that will also be trained by an ISO accredited training organization. A management representative is appointed to lead the team with internal auditors from their respective departments. Usually, the management representative is the CEO, the leader, or the highest chair of the office. This team is in charge for the preparation. Next step is to conduct orientation, training, and awareness. The ISO accreditation team that is formed by the company must be oriented and trained by an ISO accredited agency. For example, SGS, Rose Hall, or an individual accredited trainer. ISO standard requirements elements is discussed to the team for them to be aware about the requirements needed. After the team is oriented about the requirements, the elements that is needed for the certification, the team must comply the requirements that is oriented to them. After the orientation and awareness, the company or the industry must submit documents that report its internal processes, documented procedures, and standards. These documents determines that the company is able to provide quality products and services consistently. The complying of ISO certification requirements may take a long time, maybe months or even years. It depends on the company if they are ready for the auditing based on their evaluation. If the company is ready based on the evaluation of the team, they will find and schedule for an ISO certified accrediting body or ISO certifying body for accreditation of the company, like SGS, TUSUD, and etc. The organization hired will audit the company using the standard ISO 9000:2015, which is the latest version. Usually, the auditing will take up to 3 to 5 days. The ISO accredited auditors will evaluate the company if they pass the standards of ISO. If all the standards are met and there is no wrong about the complying of the requirements, and that's the time they will be given an ISO certification. ISO has three important audits. First is the certification audit. As what I have discussed earlier, certification audit is done before giving the company a ISO certification if all the requirement standards are met. The certification lasts for only 3 years, and every year there is a surveillance audit. It is a yearly audit to check if the company is still following the requirements. If the ISO auditors found out during the surveillance audit that there are lapses and problems in complying the requirements of ISO, it is said that the certification can be revoked. And the certification audit is like a renewal audit. It is just the same as the certification audit, but the requirements are up to date based on the present events. For example, ISO 45001, which is the Occupational Health and Safety Management Systems. There are added requirements and precautions due to the ongoing pandemic. In order for the company to comply in these added requirements, the company plans on health precautions like work from home, scheduled duty on the field for 50% population on the company, the mandatory wearing of mask and face shield for health safety, and practicing social distancing in offices, transportation, field, and etc. Regardless of the size of organization or its field of activity, any organization needs to manage internal processes in order to obtain the product or service requested by clients and to fulfill the establishment objectives. Each organization is unique and has its own identity and structure, so each organization must develop its own management system so that it can be used and continuously improved.